Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Living Podcast. It's Dr. Rochel Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. Happy day to you. Hope you are having a phenomenal day. Um, so happy to be here with you all because I have a really wonderful guest, and we've got a very nice topic that we're going to be discussing, which is empath versus narcissist. It's almost kind of totally appropriate, particularly what's going on in our climate here in the United States. And my guest is actually in Canada, so check that out, right? Okay, couldn't be better timing. But as I like to say, if you like the show, please subscribe to the show, share it with everyone you care about. That way you get advanced notifications of the guests, and you also get some goodies when you subscribe to the show. So again, definitely share it, but also subscribe to it. And I also like to tell you all that right now, find a place to sit, grab your favorite pen, pencil, piece of paper, your favorite beverage. Today I'm sipping on water, and tell the family to give you some moments. If you're driving, just listen. You can always re-listen to the show to capture the nuggets of gold that the guest is going to share. And while you're doing that, let me thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Check them out. They've got some fabulous virtual events coming up. As we move into this hotter weather, they've got some wonderful things to help you keep your body looking fabulous, fit, and fine holistically and naturally. And if you're looking to improve your mindset or increase your wealth, then you definitely want to check out Blissful Living. They got a lot of goodies with regards to wellness, wisdom, and wealth that are all based on the principles of Ayurveda. So I hope that piques your curiosity. Again, you can check them out at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. And our next sponsor is All Day Cable Incorporated. It's a woman-owned, minority-owned telecommunications installation company located in the heart of Silicon Valley. They've been in business since 1990. And they specialize in network distribution for small, medium, and large corporations. And that entails installation of voice data, fiber optic cabling, wireless access points, routers, modems, anything that you need to make sure your network distribution within your company helps you to make that right connection the first time you connect with your customer on the other end. So if you have a need, you have some ads, moves, changes, you want to upgrade your system, you want to be in tune in the 21st century of how we telecommunicate and utilize our telecommunications, then you want to check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so now that we've taken care of some business, let me tell you a little bit about my guest. Today's guest is Celeste London, and she has a company called Sacred Soul Insights. Now, Sacred Soul Insight is a transformational self-love recovery coaching program designed to help you break free from toxic relationships and reclaim your power. Created by Celeste Angelic London. I love that. This method goes beyond traditional healing by rewiring subconscious patterns that attract narcissists, freeing you from trauma bonds without years of therapy. Through a blend of deep psychological and spiritual insights, Sacred Soul Insight helps you to release childhood conditioning, past wounds, and self-sabotaging beliefs. With tarot and oracle guidance, Celeste empowers you to dissolve limiting patterns, rediscover self-worth, and attract healthy and fulfilling relationships. And so I am so blessed to have Celeste here with us. And Celeste, if you could just angle your camera down just a little bit, because your bottom half of your face is hidden by your name on the camera screen. There we go.
Got better?
Perfect. Okay. So Celeste, welcome. I love this, that we're going to be talking about empaths and narcissists.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, if you could give our very, very in-tuned watching and listening audience the definition of what an empath is, and then the definition of what a narcissist is.
All right, so let's start with empath. Empaths are people who they actually absorb and are able to feel within their own bodies the suffering, the hurts, the ups and downs of a person. So, an empath is somebody who will maybe see you for the very first time, don't know anything about you, but is absorbing your energy. And as we know, as human beings, we are all energy. And for whatever reason, the empath is able to feel something that's going on with you. That's why you find a lot of empaths are in healing professions, right? Like Reiki, massage, anything to do with healing, you'll find empaths because they're here, they're the natural healers of the world, right? So that's basically, in a nutshell, my definition based on my life experience and working with clients, what an empath is. Somebody who absorbs and is able to take on the suffering, the positive or negative of what the experience is of another human being.
Hey, Celeste, you know what? We still need to have your camera adjusted because you're still really low.
Yeah, I have a PC and I had to put some cushions and I'm trying to see how we
Can you
can.
elevate it a little bit? Or, or elevate yourself, yeah. So that,
Okay.
yeah, okay, that's better. Okay,
Okay.
so now tell us what a narcissist is.
So a narcissist is a person that it's a personality disorder. So there's different levels of the spectrum of narcissists. We all have narcissistic traits and behaviors, but it's called cluster B narcissistic personality disorder. The reason for the cluster B narcissistic personality disorder is that person is living with a mental illness in the way that they view and use human beings for their own selfish needs. So
Mm.
narcissists don't have the wiring like an empath. Empath love for real. If you attract an empath into your life, they're going to be the person that wants to sustain the relationship for the rest of your life. A narcissist is wired to use a person for their own mental, emotional, psychological, physical, and financial needs to suit them alone.
Okay,
And then,
let's hold tight right there. We've got to
okay,
take a quick break because this
okay.
is getting good. And just thought y'all all know, I'm in the United States, but Celeste is in Canada. So we're gonna dive into a little bit about
Sure.
what's happening with you know the leaders of our countries in our relationship based on this topic, impact narcissists. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living podcast. Give us a few moments. Okay, we are back. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And we're talking about getting some information with regards to the definition of an empath and a narcissist. And so I just want to reiterate that you said that a narcissist is actually a mental health challenge within an individual, and they definitely are not like empath. They're pretty much like on the other end of the spectrum. What I want to ask you with regards to this is empath and narcissist seem to be drawn to each other.
Yes.
Why is this?
So the narcissist is jealous and envious of the empath's light. Dark is attracted to light. So because the narcissist, whatever experience or whatever their situation was, whatever trauma, they internalize the negative experience or sometimes the overpraising because it's called the golden child, that they can do no wrong. The golden child becomes a narcissist because they are perfect and nobody's perfect. And so they grow up not being able to handle criticism. And the other person that turns into a narcissist is a person that internalized their trauma to do damage and bring destruction to the way they relate to people close to them, called family, relationships, what have you. And to answer your question, the narcissist is a person that is looking to feed their low self-esteem. They live with 4 different low vibrational emotions. So they are jealous of the empath because the empath is attracted to enlightenment, meaning God, whatever you want to call it. And when you are connected to source, you always have energy. Narcissists are dark human beings, meaning demonic spirits with no soul. They're actually walking dead corpuses. So
Ooh.
they sold their soul a long time ago. And so they navigate the earth through dysfunction by manipulating, control, and corruption and destruction. Everything the narcissist touches gets destroyed.
Woo, girl. Is this not more appropriate? I'm loving this. I'm like totally feel like I knew what a narcissist was, and empath. I am an empath, so I knew what that is. But I thought I knew what a narcissist was. Now I'm getting a whole new enlightenment, and it fits to the context of everything that's going on within our country, and what's happening with the leader of our country around the world. I'm not trying to make this political, but I'm just trying to for an understanding of the difference in what we're seeing right in front of our eyes that describes exactly what we're talking about. I'm loving this, girl. Okay, so how does childhood conditioning influence an empath's subconscious to attract a narcissist? I mean,
so the empath childhood conditioning, because the empath and the narcissist both grew up in dysfunctional homes, but the empath survived, or the empath internalized their childhood dysfunction by choosing to love more and to be a giver. And that's what they decided that they're going to be in the world. The more love I give, that's how I'm going to help to change. So empath and narcissist come together. The empath says, if I love more, then the person can change, thinking they walk into a relationship thinking they can fix, rescue, and change the narcissist. But over time, they find out that it's the complete opposite, because the narcissist will exploit your kindness and your compassion, because in the end, the narcissist's energy is to want to destroy the empath.
Wow. So really, it truly is an attraction of opposites, right?
Yeah.
I always say opposites attract, and then it's attraction of opposites. And so it really is interesting because, we see so much of these two different souls, so to speak, attracted in many different ways. And I think the more enlightenment, the more information we can share on how to circumvent the attraction that you will prevent you from going down that path of destruction. As an empath, I think it can be so much more beneficial and helpful to people, globally around the world. Now, what are some steps that an empath can take to break free from this cycle of being, I want to say, magnetized to the narcissist?
So one of the things empaths need to recognize is empaths tend to not have any boundaries. And narcissists target and look for somebody, especially when it comes to a life partner, people who have compassion, kindness, and who don't really have any boundaries, because they're so hungry to be loved or to give love. And empaths are hungry to give love. The narcissist is hungry to be self-serving, for you to love them, to only serve their needs. And that is where the attraction comes in. One is looking to give love, one is working to take love for their own selfish needs.
Okay. So say I'm an empath and, I come across a narcissist or some narcissistic people, because we all do that during our day, right? Are there any signs, symptoms, things I should pay attention to as I engage in conversation with these people that would let me know that I'm dealing with narcissistic people, I'm dealing with a narcissistic person?
One of the number one things you should look for as an empath when you're talking, whether it be business, professional, or even a friendship, what have you, narcissists will take over the conversation. They make everything be about them, and they give very little room for you to input something of value that you either want to share or bring to the table or have a discussion about. You find that you will feel exhausted and drained after the conversation. And they just have a way of using their charisma and their charm to make everyone focus their energy on them. Because in the end, let's say they might talk about, a business person might say, I'm doing ABC, or I'm meeting Tony Robbins tomorrow, something like that. And so they relate to human beings and talk to them so that the whole conversation is for you to focus on them and forget about everyone else, because they have a need to feel admiration and self-validation outside of themselves, but at the cost of ruining everyone.
Wow. Okay, we've got to take another quick break. Oh, this is good. Oh, Celeste, you may have to come back for part 2. This is really good. Okay, we'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast. This is one of the reasons why you should subscribe to the show and share it with everyone, because it's information like this that we think we know about, but we get the real deeds and the real scoop here on the Blissful Living Podcast. We'll be right back in just a few moments. Alrighty, we are back. The Queen of Feeling Fabulous, talking to Celeste Angelic London, and she's educating us about narcissists and empaths. And I think one of the beautiful things before we took the break was you gave us basically what we can look for in our day-to-day interactions with folk and be able to tell exactly what type of person they are. And we all know we've come across somebody that always wants to dominate the conversation. They make everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
They could give a hoot about what you did, who you did, how you did it, how you look, how you feel. They don't really care, because their number one goal is to tell and share everything and make themselves, basically put themselves on a pedestal for you to look up to them, and not necessarily engage. They don't want to engage really with you, right? They have an agenda, and their agenda is it's all about me. Yeah. So with regards to that, many people believe self-love is the solution to escaping narcissistic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that not enough? And what deeper work is required for true healing when you've encountered narcissistic abuse?
So the narcissists, like I said, they target people. So when you think about narcissists, the spiritual experience of why empaths attract narcissists is they're feeding off of your woundedness. They're actually feeding off of your trauma and your pain. And because empaths have been conditioned from childhood to give to receive love, which is why the narcissist targets empath, you have to heal those deep, wounded, painful experience, whatever your experience was from mom or dad or your childhood upbringing or whoever took care of you when you were being raised, or past relationship trauma or experiences that were negative or toxic relationships, and go deep and heal your nervous system, because when you experience trauma, your nervous system is wired to accept abuse as love, and that's what you need to heal.
So it's kind of like the kids that are abused by their parents physically, sexually, mentally, emotionally, but they have such still this deep love for them.
So you can't go looking for love for someone, because you're going to attract the narcissist, and the narcissist is going to enter your life to activate and open up those wounds bigger by choosing to want to destroy you.
Wow. I think this is just very powerful information that's being shared, because if we don't know what we don't know, then we don't know that we're being manipulated and abused, right? And by us having this conversation and bringing to the light of what a narcissist is, everybody that's watching us, listening to us, that will watch this, will listen to us, will be able to see that they've had experiences with narcissists, and they still may be in their lives, but there is hope and help for them to escape the, I want to say the deep magnetic
conditioning, the conditioning.
Narcissists. Now, you mentioned trauma and trauma bonds.
Yes.
What exactly is a trauma bond?
So the trauma bond starts from childhood, where, for example, you were raised by narcissistic parents. So I was raised by a narcissistic mother and father. So I already have been a programming subconsciously, consciously, a conditioning that's already been set in my nervous system to accept different forms of abuse as love. So I spent my life attracting narcissistic abusers, because my nervous system is wired to look at giving to receive love. So it's a system within yourself that you have to have the awareness to openly be truthful and aware of yourself, what your childhood conditioning growing up was like, and how to relearn and unlearn all of the messages, behaviors, and attitudes and programming that was downloaded into you, to unlearn and relearn all of that so that you can repel narcissists.
Is there a first is there what's the easiest thing to identify within oneself that's an empath that have been raised and have that
You're not comfortable to say no.
oh
Empaths aren't comfortable to say no. They're very agreeable, and you have to watch within yourself, and they ignore their intuition.
mhm.
You will hear when I'm working with clients, you'll hear them say, "Oh, I ignored the red flags, but I know something in my mind said ABC, that this is not right." So you have to listen. We have an intuition, especially we've been gifted as women with this gift called intuition, meaning your gut feeling. Something is off, something is not right. And your intuition is never wrong. And you have to get comfortable to say no.
Wow. Okay, we've got to take another last quick break here on the Blissful Living podcast, but this has been very, very enlightening. I bet you there are some heartstrings and some intuitive strings being challenged and tugged on right now when realizing, you know what, I should be listening more to my intuition because I might just be surrounded by
Mhm.
a very narcissistic type of energy and I didn't even know or wasn't even aware of it. So we'll be right back to the Blissful Living podcast in just a few moments. Okay, we are back. It's Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. I'm having this beautiful angelic conversation with Celeste Angelic London, and we're talking about, the topic of empaths and narcissists and our dealings with them, how to identify when we're dealing with a narcissist, how this narcissistic person may have been attracted to us as an empath, and why it's so important for us to recognize what's going on, tap into our intuition, and know that our intuition never leads us astray and has provided us with an abundant amount of energy and information. Now, what I want to ask with regards to this question is it absolutely necessary to completely cut ties with the toxic narcissistic individual, or can you still have a relationship with them, but creating boundaries and knowing that you're protected? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So the answer is no, but there are situations where children are involved. So
Mm.
people who narcissists are, they turn into Dracula and vampire when there's a divorce. So when there's children involved where they have to co-parent or have a relationship because of the children, you have to do something called gray rock, meaning only focus on the facts. Because narcissist people are very transactional when it comes to relationships. They use people based on how useful you are to the narcissist.
Mm.
So if there is no children involved and you have escaped or gotten out of a narcissistic abusive relationship, over time you have to be strong to not go back and communicate with them. Because what happens is when you accept and you forgive a narcissist, they will come 10 times harder to destroy you.
Wow. Wow. Did you guys hear that? When you accept and forgive them, they will come 10 times harder. It's almost like they have this magnetic attraction to those that they know will be vulnerable to their bullying,
Mhm,
their negative energy, uh,
mhm,
and the ties and connections that you may have or may have had with them in the past. So my last question for you today is,
mhm.
what role do tarot and spiritual healing play with regards to helping us deal with narcissistic people and help your clients to reclaim self-love and empowerment?
So, based on a story, I'll be very short. Tarot came into my life just before COVID hit. And I had to find a way to talk to either therapists or friends, and sometimes those two were not accessible. So I was lucky to have a businesswoman gave me a gift. That gift was a tarot card deck. When I learned about tarot, I realized that the images have meanings. So, example, you have the 21, um, the Arcana cards, meaning self-love, strength, etc. And then you have the 4 court cards, meaning cups for emotions, pentacles meaning wealth, the sticks meaning action, the actions you need to take, and last but not least, swords for meaning representing communication. So when I learned the tarot deck, I realized that the images and the messages, I can internalize it and use it to self-love. For a couple, meaning a loving couple, you turn it to loving yourself. And so that's how I studied tarot, to the point where I created my own 2 tarot decks now. And so that's how I implement self-love strategies when I'm working with clients who are recovering from narcissistic abuse.
Wow, I love it. I'm definitely going to bring Celeste back because I can spend an hour or 2 hours talking to her about this is my vibe. And I have several tarot card sets that have been gifted to me. And I really don't, I mean, I use them, but I really don't understand the in depth of wealth of information that they provide to me. Because I read it and then it's like, it just seems superficial in some parts, but I know it's deeper than beyond my comprehension. So I'm gonna bring you back for sure. All right, you all. This is why you need to subscribe again to the Blissful Living Podcast, because this information is not something you can go out and find and get truthful, knowledgeable people that's going to give it to you straight and without any fluff, so that you can utilize it in your life to make your life that much better and begin to start living your dream life. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com, and All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. My whole heartfelt thank you goes to Celeste Angelic London for being here today with us. This wisdom is profoundly powerful. I mean, you just set a blaze in me. And so I just want to thank you for what you're doing, the work you're sharing, the information you're sharing, because I think the more we can get knowledge and access to, gifted individuals that like you that are divinely brought into our lives, the better it can be for all of us. I want to thank all of you for listening and viewing. Take good care. And until next time, this is the Queen of Feeling Fabulous with the Blissful Living Podcast, saying, pay attention to the energy around you and within you when you're out dealing with people, whether it's your family, friends, or people you associate with, and begin to understand that the energy that's coming back from them is telling you something, and it may be a powerful, intuitive message that you need to pay attention to. Until next time, take good care and goodbye for now.
Bye.